I'm in a fairy fort, a ring fort here in the west of Ireland. I did ask for permission before I could come in here, and I got a resounding yes. And it feels good. There's two, you can't see the other one, but there's two large trees here, and they're interlocking overhead, like the masculine and the feminine. A few of my videos recently focus on masculine energy and how to be in your masculine. When I mean masculine, I mean for men to be in their authentic masculinity, not a contrived masculine. No, I'm talking about being authentic, stepping into your true power. In today's society, masculinity, divine masculinity or true masculinity is demonized, is something to be shamed. So there's a lot of men who are emasculated because they have this deep shame for their own masculine nature, their true authentic nature. This is not to say that all men are by default masculine, because you do get some men who are a little bit more feminine, and that's by their natural innate preference and not repressed state, a diminished state, an inauthentic state. There are some men who are authentically more feminine, and that's fine. But it's important for both women and men to be in their authentic energy and to own it and to live by it with pride, to not feel ashamed of your truth. And when the programming is so deep within us from a very, very, very early age, it's hard to actually pinpoint what our true authentic self expression really is, because we're getting programmed from every single angle. If you look at the wokeism, Netflix, prime example, the way they propagate reality through media is very confusing to us, and it actually is very discouraging for authentic expression. So in my videos recently talking about masculinity and femininity, just to readdress that I'm talking about authentic embodiment of those energies. Within men and women, there is the ability to utilize masculine and feminine energies. Whether you're a man or woman, you have access to both of them. Generally speaking, though, it's obvious to me, and I think it's obvious to most of you, that the ratios of masculine and feminine varies quite a lot. But in general, women prefer, their natural preference, their natural innate tendency is to be more feminine in their natural state. And men, their natural tendency and desire and preference is to be more masculine. We are polar opposites, and we complement each other. Now, you always have exceptions where you have men who veer a little bit more towards the feminine, and you have women who veer a little bit more towards the masculine. And in relationships, there needs to be an opposites attract, right? So if you have a masculine man and a feminine woman, they fit each other naturally. This is very generalized now. But there is, sorry, I have a little bit of Danique's hair in my mouth. So naturally, opposites attract. If you have a more feminine man, then he is going to attract a more masculine woman. Opposites attract. And the same goes for gay, lesbian relationships as well. Opposites attract. So, men who are repressing their own masculinity, they're going to struggle to find their place in relationships with women, in heterosexual relationships. They're going to find it difficult to gain the respect and the admiration of women because they're not authentically in their natural state, in their masculine state, for example. Now you have ratios, right? Okay, but for example, maybe a typical man is about 70% masculine and 30% feminine, and that varies from person to person. And it changes over time, depending on your circumstance, situation, events. We're kind of in flow, but our predominant preferred energy is in more masculine as males. Always some exceptions to that, but that's the general rule. And then women are generally like 70% in their feminine and 30% in their masculine. Obviously, again, that varies from person to person, and throughout their life experiences, that will change. It's a focus shift that can happen. Stress also brings a woman more into her masculine, so maybe she's more than 30% in her masculine, maybe she's more closer to 50% or even greater. But either women or men in their opposite energy for a prolonged period of time is not sustained well. It's difficult to stay there. For example, women who are more in their masculine energy, which is outside of their natural state of being, it's not completely authentic to who they are and what they prefer to embody, it becomes very stressful. They become exhausted. Their confidence starts to drop. They don't feel safe or secure. And masculines in their feminine energy, in too much feminine energy, become flaky, unmotivated, lazy, addicted to all kinds of things. For example, young men addicted to porn and drugs and alcohol and all the vices. That's not masculine energy. That's a borderless or boundless energy, which is more feminine. So feminine energy is more free, more open, more inclusive, and the masculine energy is more the structure, self-discipline, rules, showing up regardless of how you feel, for example. So men in a more feminine energy tend to be a lot have less self-control, less self-discipline, less self-confidence, less will, less creative desire, because they tend to spend it more on more of a wider field. They throw their energy away more easily. That this is more healthy for women because it's natural for females to express in more that feminine energy of allowing things to come, more nurturing energy, more self-nurturing, more self-care. They have more empathy, which means that they are pulled in many directions, but it's more natural for the feminine energy to be there. For masculines to be in that feminine energy to a high degree is detrimental. And also, considering the dynamic between feminine and masculine, feminine women are only attracted to more masculine men. And that is the law. You cannot avoid this. You cannot pretend. If you are a less masculine man, you cannot pretend to the feminine woman that you are masculine, because she will feel it. You cannot, it doesn't matter what image you portray, what part you play, she will feel your energy, because women are extremely intuitive, especially in their feminine energy. Yes, they can cut themselves off from their feminine intuition by being in their masculine. And masculines can be intuitive as well, but feminines are way more intuitive because of that receptive energy. The feminine energy is That is the embodiment of feminine energy. It's that receptivity. But a masculine is not as receptive. They're more focused. Yes, as a man, you can be receptive. You can be more feminine if it needs to be. But your natural state is more masculine. So it's healthy for men to be more masculine, but also adopt those feminine attributes as well, because we do have that. Look at the yin and the yang symbol. Okay, you got the yin one side and the yang the other side. The yin being the feminine energy and the yang being the masculine. The yin is the dark side with the white circle, and then the yang, which is the masculine, is the white half with the dark circle. So that's the ratio. That's a rough idea of the ratio. So the feminine, the yin, has an aspect of the yang within, and the masculine, the white, the light, or the sun and the moon, has an aspect of the yin. So in each we have an aspect of the other. That's how we have empathy. That's how we connect with each other. The masculine and feminine connect and complement each other. They see each other because they understand each other in that way that they connect. If that they were separate and there wasn't a piece of the other in each other, how could they connect? They would be alien to each other. They would just look at each other and never trust each other because they cannot understand, empathize, or understand. But we contain an aspect of the other within us. But to be in balance and harmony, we have to stay on our side whilst holding space for the other. So for the masculines, you stay in your masculinity, but you hold space for the feminine. And the only way that you can hold space for the feminine is to understand, to appreciate the feminine energy. But that doesn't mean that you become engulfed in it, because if you become engulfed in it, you won't see your value in that dynamic. And vice versa, the feminine needs to sit in her feminine energy, but whilst holding space for the masculine. That small piece of her that is the masculine, that creates her key to the masculine, and vice versa. So it's all about balance. We have to meet in the middle. Always we have to meet in the middle, but with our unique ratio of masculine and feminine energy, complementing each other. We're jigsaw puzzles. We're not supposed to be the same. We're supposed to complement. And you're always attracted to your opposite, your polar opposite. So if you are holding a lot of trauma from your past, childhood wounds, for example, that you've not processed, you've had a lot of resentment for your childhood past, maybe you don't even realize it, but it is coloring your perception of your reality, even to this day. In relationships, it's always related to the relationships with our father and our mother. And that's, if we have unresolved issues with our father or our mother, we will be attracting relationships that reflect that dynamic, because we will be projecting ourselves from that perspective that we are unworthy of the love that we desired from our father, for example, or our mother. As a young boy, my mother was quite cold. She wasn't easily pleased. She was very hard on me and my brothers. So we always felt like we weren't enough. We didn't do enough, because she was never satisfied in our perspective. So that made me attracted to relationships where I had to gain the respect and the love, admiration of my partners. And as men, if we had bad relationships with our mothers or fathers or both, we tend to attract relationships like that, because we are an energetic match. So we attract other people who are, colored by their own traumas, their own insecurities. So we attract our opposite, equal and opposite match. But when you do the healing work, when you take back your power, because the past is gone, the past does not exist anymore. But what we're doing is we're repeating the same patterns of our childhood, the same coping mechanisms that we utilized when we were children in those situations and the conflict in our family life when we were kids with our parents, for example, or in the school ground or wherever. So we haven't evolved that because we got stuck in that fight or flight mechanism, that repression, and we become kind of narcissistic, because we're all narcissists really to varying degrees. It's all the selfish little me, that wants to be pitied and validated and adored, and we want to be the center of attention to varying degrees, especially when we get triggered, when the past triggers come up. But the thing is, there's no past. Past is gone, it doesn't exist. You are a grown adult right now, so you need to collect those outdated versions of you, those versions that get triggered and cope with situations in a very clumsy, childlike way. And understand that you have value and you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. So when you realize that, when you understand that you actually have a lot of value, you have a lot to offer, you're very wise, you're very aware, you're very skilled, and naturally you just deserve love because you are a conscious being, a self-aware entity. And you deserve love. And where do you start? With learning to accept yourself, whether you're male or female. It makes no difference. The same rules apply here. It wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. So right now, today, and every day, you take back your power. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. If you're being authentic, that means you're self-loving. You're loving yourself because you're being your truth. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't need to look like anything else. It doesn't need to conform to any other structures outside of you. If you're a content creator, you need to be authentic in the content that you're putting out there. That means you need to not care about what the reaction is going to be. When you're speaking your truth, you should never worry about what other people are going to say about you, what other people are going to judge, because they are only projecting their own insecurities onto you. And quite often, they're just envious and they want to diminish your self-worth so they don't feel so bad about their own lack of self-worth. Remember, opposites attract. So if you're in a distorted energy of confusion, you are going to attract a distorted energy of confusion. And that's how a lot of us are in trauma bonds, because we attract the version of ourselves that is still identified with our childhood trauma, for example. A lack of self-worth. We're not good enough. We don't deserve real love. We don't believe in real love anymore, so I'm going to attach myself to this person because they validate me in some way, even if it's just perpetuating the trauma. I'm going to stay with them. I've been in relationships like that. I've been in a long-term relationship where it was exactly that. Both my partner and myself were projecting our own childhood wounds onto each other. And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy that we would part ways. But when you do the healing work, you will attract the healed version of you, your counterpart, the healed counterpart version of you to you, without any externalizing needed. It will just happen. They will come because you always get your energetic match. You get your energetic match. Never sell yourself short, because you always deserve the best life has to offer. Dream higher. If you have a dream, double it, multiply it, 10x it. For example, if you're making content on YouTube or TikTok or any of the social media platforms, you have a visualization of you want 100,000 followers, for example. Skip that. Make it bigger, 2 million, for example. You deserve that, because what you have to express is worth way more than you've been valuing yourself at. For example, right now, well, for the last few months, I've been trying to sell my car privately. And over the last few months, I've been lowering the price because I've had not much interest in it. And I had a discussion with Danique, my partner, today. And I was thinking about this for the last few days. I'm lowering my self-worth. I'm lowering my expectation. I'm diminishing myself. So I decided to bring the price back up even higher than I initially started off with, because I deserve that and the car is worth that. And actually, I don't really want to sell the car because I really enjoy driving that car. It's fun, it's sporty, it's, I like it. I built that car. It was a broken car when I got it, and I rebuilt that. I've got a whole other YouTube channel that is dedicated to car stuff because I have other interests. I like to work on cars. It's my profession. I'm a mechanic, and so that's another part of me. It's not really related to this part of me, but it's all kind of me. It's me. It's authentic. And I shouldn't diminish that in myself, because for a long time I didn't know how to combine the two aspects of me, because there's this more kind of awareness seeker part of me, and then there's the more physical, working, constructing, building, more physical aspect of me, working on machines, cars, trucks. That's one side of me, and I can't diminish that anymore, because that is authentically a part of me, and I enjoy to do that. But I also enjoy to express myself and to question my reality, my self-perception. And I invite you guys to bring all those aspects of you together in an authentic way and express yourself completely. Don't hide any aspects of yourself, because everything has value. Just because it's more in the physical world doesn't make it less valuable. It's extremely valuable. It's all because you are a multifaceted being. You have many skills, many talents, many things that interest you, many things that are an expression of joy. Just dive into that. Express, be creative. Don't be ashamed of who you really are. Express your truth. And be in your divine nature. Be in your authentic nature. And go out and enjoy the world. Get stuck in. So, guys, remember, be authentic. Learn to love yourself. And I exposed what it means to love yourself in previous videos. But in a nutshell, it's being your best friend, nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, nurturing self-discipline, having higher sights, higher expectations for your life, valuing yourself more, which means you don't give your energy away to situations or people that don't value you. Don't allow people to keep you in a lesser version of you or a past version of you. Don't give them the time. Take care of your diet, take care of your vessel. Nurture your soul. Do what feels right. Invest in yourself in the long term, not the short-term gratifications. That's what self-love is. And I could go on for a very long time talking about this. But don't sell yourself short. I'll show you this other tree. The masculine and feminine interlocked together. Divine union. It happens from within first. There's no skipping that. Peace.